Let me ask you one final question. There's a big uproar in this country now about this new pat-downs that are going on as people try to get on airplanes. Now, do you think that this is necessary in the war against terrorism, or should we take another look at this?
Well, Bob, I think that we have to be constantly asking ourselves, how do we calculate the risk? And you know, sometimes we don't calculate it correctly. We either overstate it or understate it. Clearly, as Secretary Napolitano has said, you know, we're doing this because the terrorists keep getting more creative about what they do to hide explosives and, you know, crazy things like underwear. So clearly there is a need. Now, if there is a way to limit the number of people who are going to be put through surveillance, that's something that I'm sure can be considered. But everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Okay.
And I understand how difficult it is and how offensive it must be for the people who are going through it.
Final question. My time is up. But would you submit to one of these pat downs?
Not if I could avoid it. No, I mean, who would?
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is Friday, November 26, 2010, and I'm Darko. I'd like to say thank you for visiting Global Government News, and I recommend new listeners or new viewers to please check out www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. Welcome to this war on terror, or war of terror, kind of like the reign of terror from back in the day. War of terror, liberty, sovereignty news. We're going to cover all kinds of issues and from all around the world. And we start off, of course, with the body scanners. So you just heard Secretary of State Hillary Clinton kind of fixing a little slip up there where she said, no, hell no. Oh, you know, if I could avoid it, right? As if she's like a common person that's just like everybody else. But I'd like to see her get groped and prodded by the TSA, like, you know, the 3-year-old that I saw the other day. Just horrible. So we're going to get into it here, and hopefully we can try to figure out what was going on here, because if you pay attention to the brainwashing box or tube recently, you know, the whole opt-out protest failed. According to the mainstream media, it failed, right? But we'll get into the real story of what really went on and whether the protest really did fail. TSA chief visits airport to buck up employees and defend tactics. So this is typical that the government would come out here and send their little minion out to you know, shake the hands of all these you know, lowly employees who are probably getting a little more than minimum wage. They actually are probably getting more than that plus benefits. Here we go. Here it says, as John Pistole strode through the Concourse B of Ronald Reagan National Airport on the busiest travel days of the year, flanked by airport employees, a news media handler, and a reporter, a bewildered traveler looked up and wondered aloud, is this a celebrity flying through? So, and it goes in there, and basically he's going to go through and say, oh yeah, hold on, I got to at least show the quote, because I remember reading this the other day, and it was ridiculous. Okay, I found it here. It's but Mr. Pistole, 54, said that while he had been surprised by the, quote, fullness of the public reaction, that's right, the sheeple started to go, bah, bah, right? And he said he was happy to take the heat if it meant keeping travelers safe. So, you know, you see how he rationalizes this? Oh, poor me. Ooh, I'm a victim. Ooh, oh, come on, just beat me down. You don't understand. The experts... You know, the experts are working for you. The government is taking away your freedom and make you feel like a piece of crap slave for you. They're doing it for you. Oh, we didn't know. Oh, well, thanks for giving us the update there, Mr. Pistole. Thanks for letting us know that you were treating us like, you know, like your little minions over here are treating citizens, violating their Fourth Amendment and assuming that they're all guilty. And that we're doing it, that you guys are doing it for our safety. But see, the slaves they're not smart enough, they're not intelligent enough to figure this out. So we need douchebags like you to figure it out for us. Oh, okay. Oh, see, he goes on. My hope is that whatever people want to call me, they recognize that we're simply doing everything we can to work with the people and provide the best possible security. This must be a memo, because I heard Napolitano say almost to the same word, whatever the phrase is. He said it almost the exact same thing. It must be the talking points that go to all these little directors. Mr. Pistole said, quote, I have to try to assess what are the risks being posed and what steps we can take to provide the best possible security while recognizing the privacy issue. Oh, what a bunch of malarkey, right? That's like what Clinton was just saying. Without, keeping people's privacy. So I say this almost in every war on terror. Any issue that has to do with this surveillance and privacy, that, you can pretty much assume that you have no privacy. I think I've even read a quote about the Google CEO saying that. So they're only, they talk about a reasonable expectation of privacy. Well, the only thing you can expect is nothing. Over 900 TSA complaints in November, ACLU says. The ACLU received over 900 complaints from travelers over the last month who have been subjected to the new screening procedures of the TSA. So, we're going to keep moving on here. Got lots of stuff. How to navigate body scans and pat-downs, invasive body searches, Nazi-style checkpoints, traumatized children, and their speechless parents. No, that's their spineless parents. These are some of the horror stories likening America's airports to a police state thanks to intensive. It's weird seeing that in a nice propaganda rag, using the word police state. Thanks to intensified new screening procedures meant to prevent airborne terrorism. No, it's not meant to prevent airborne terrorism, folks. It's meant to get you acclimated, to condition you, mostly younger people, but to condition you to accept these body scanners and not just in airports, but watch, like I said, right? Courthouses, train stations, bus stations, and then what? High schools, or actually universities. Remember what I said? I'll say this again. This is my prediction. Within the next 2 years, we're going to have more school shootings, right? But I predict within the next year, this year in 2011, you're going to have school shootings again. Nice little MK Ultra style psyops, like Fort Hood, where they see their psychiatrists in Virginia and then they go on a rampage shooting. Basically, I see that as being a pretext for rolling out body scanners in every freaking university in the United States, and of course that will go with around the world. So we're going to move on here because, like I said, we just got a lot of stuff to cover here. So I found the article here. It says why the airline opt-out protest failed, and this is what I was referring to in the beginning of the video. This is all through the mainstream the mainstream media. The people that are going to tell the sheeple what they need to think or talk about. And it says complaints about airport security recently triggered calls for consumer-led opt-out day by boycotting full body scans that would hopelessly snarl travel plans and force the TSA to rethink its intrusive methods. Well, let me just go ahead and tell you, they were never planning on rethinking these intrusive methods. They were going to shove it down your throats. That was the plan the entire time, and you just deal with it. Eventually, the slaves will just capitulate because they're slaves, and they'll just do it because they don't think for themselves, and they have to get in this big organized effort instead of doing it individually and protesting with their dollars as individuals. So it says airline and government officials worried that there would be a nationwide travel disruptions today. But it says despite threats of protests from passengers angry at new security rules, it was relatively smooth sailing and flying at O'Hare Airport Wednesday. Lines at ticket counters and at security checkpoints were moving freely throughout the morning and early afternoon. There are no delays, no lines, no protests that I know of, said Karen Pride, spokesman of the Chicago Department of Aviation. And you can be rest assured that these little puppets here were definitely briefed on what to say. They were not saying anything that was from their own minds. They were saying things that were talking points that came straight down from Homeland Security. So, Heil. Right? Welcome to, the Fourth Reich. Air travelers opting out. This is from Wired, And it goes on there and says, a grassroots opt-out protest planned at airports around the country appears to have fizzled, as early as reports indicate that most travelers on Wednesday were opting out of the full body scanners. So it goes on there and says that it's failed. Oh, and then I caught this article, storms, not airport security, slowed holiday travel. So it says a planned boycott of airport security scanners was a bust, but holiday travelers in western U.S. had to contend with chaotic mix of snow and sleet and ice. Now, doesn't that just tick you off, guys? Doesn't that tick you off that these people, you got nobody on your side? I mean, and like I said before, it's not so much of a us versus them as it is just, individuals trying to be free on an individual basis. And you see stuff like this one after the next, one after another of these articles, and they're selling you out. They're not helping you out. They're telling you what to think. They're telling you how to think. Oh, how should you think? How should you approach this issue so that you can, gargle it out to your ramble on to your neighbor or your friend or something like that, or your family about what Fox News told you or the AP told you to say. Storms, not airport security. And let's move on here. You ready for this? This is the punchline here, I guess. TSA turns off naked body scanners to avoid opt-out day protests. From NaturalNews.com, anticipating a nationwide grassroots surge of protests against naked body scanners and aggressive pat-downs, the TSA simply turned off its naked body scanners on Wednesday and let air travelers walk right through security checkpoints without being x-rayed or molested. Now, see, this is something that does not surprise me. Why? Because they are sneaky bastards. Excuse my language, pardon my French if there's any young listeners. I don't think I have many of them, although I wish I had more because of the future. But, like I said, this whole issue is really just kind of getting to me because it's being whitewashed and just totally distorted. And so they just shut them down. All across the country, air travelers are reporting that the TSA simply deactivated the naked body scanners and let people go right through without a scan. Quote, scanners are off. No scan, no pat-down, reported a traveler from the Seattle airport. Backscatter machines aren't being used at LAX, reported another traveler. They're all roped off. Much of the same stories reported all across the country. So, yeah, I mean, the TSA is desperate to avoid protests. You can go through here and check this out. That's a pretty crazy article, man. That was the best news, most important news that I'm covering today, besides the Russians and the Chinese basically not trading with the U.S. dollar anymore, quote, bilaterally. So they're getting rid of the U.S. dollar as of, 2 days ago. And, that was totally unreported, except for the People's Daily Online. So there you go. Yeah, they don't care. Like I said, they have no plan on scaling back or reviewing, this public outcry. They're going to go forward with this. And, like this one story, there's been hundreds of stories of people being harassed going through these checkpoints. Because that's what they are, they're checkpoints, but they're being harassed, and the biggest thing is they don't even ask for their ID. They have this big thing about a checklist of bringing your identification with you, and they didn't even check this individual's ID. So they're not really even focused on security. They don't care about keeping you safe. It's about getting you through that body scanner. They want to unwind your DNA, and they want to get you radiated. They want to get you sterilized, and they want to get your biometric body scan in a database. Simple as that, guys. And they want to, like I said, and the last part, they want to condition you. So it's what is the word? Multifaceted. There's many reasons for why they're doing this to you. So it's not black and white. Corporate media saturation of TSA news in operation to desensitize and anger population. So go through and check this out from roguegovernment.com. So it basically ties into what I was just kind of saying. It's a big operation, big psyops. And the only people that don't know are the people that it's being carried out on, the sheep, the slaves, the plebs, the poor American citizens. A new report has revealed, it says here, naked body scanner companies have lobbied politicians to push use in airports. So it says a new report has revealed that the manufacturers of the invasive and dangerous new body scanners popping up in airports all across the country more than doubled their political lobbying spending in recent years. Oh, so please join me in part 2 here. Full body scanners popping up at courthouses. Taking a trip during the holidays isn't the only time that people might get a full body scan to pass through security. People heading to court to testify, getting a restraining order, pay a ticket, or answer criminal charges could also face a body scan at the courthouse. So please join me with Global Government News. We'll be covering the War on Terror, Liberty, Sovereignty in part 2. Thank you.